Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. In this video I will show you some neat things I did while playing around with airplanes in Kerbal Space Program. Most of the time I play I don't use any mods, but the craft I built this time uses a couple, namely procedural wings, the B9 aerospace pack, and most importantly, Ferrum Aerospace Research. These add arbitrary wing shapes, beautiful looking spaceplane parts, and a much more realistic aerodynamics. This is the plane I'm going to demonstrate. I started making this as a small and simple maneuverable jet. It's short and kind of ugly, but it has the properties I wanted. Later on I added 2 rockets and bombs as armament, which work really well with Ferrum Aerospace Research. I used procedural wings to make the small winglets on the weapons. Here you can see the different control surfaces of this plane. The 2 engines from the B9 pack have a very high vectoring range, which will be very useful for the maneuvers that you are about to see. There are also some air brakes spread around the engines, which you will see in action later. With all these weapons attached, the plane accelerates much more slowly than without. But it still takes off very smoothly and keeps accelerating. I am turning towards the VAB, which I will use as a target to show off the armament. After that we can begin the aerobatics with a much lighter plane. I am now entering a straight horizontal flight, and I'll be slowing down using the air brakes, which you can see extending. Now watch what happens if I pitch up while going slowly. Using the engines, I get extra torque, and this flips the plane around, and the fore window is showing that it's stalled. This way it's easy to lose control over the plane, but the engines here are very powerful, so in this case it's enough to throttle up and catch the plane that way. Let's use this technique of losing control in a controlled way. Again, the plane is slowing down, flying straight ahead, 90 meters per second, 80, pitching back up, and using the throttle to get extra torque. Now, and pitching down. The plane is now flying in the same path as before, but it has done a complete 360-degree flip mid-air. I think this is pretty cool. Again, I try the same flip, but this time I pitched down a bit too late, but still, since the plane didn't fall sideways and with the help of the gimbaling engines, control was never lost. The same thing can be done in vertical flight too. Here the brakes aren't even necessary because gravity is slowing us down. This wasn't executed as nicely as I had hoped, but still the plane is roughly continuing upwards. Let's see if we can get a nicer result. There we go. Of course, we don't have to go through a full flip. It's perfectly possible to do a 180 turn and go downwards. Now I will be attempting the 180 turn horizontal flight, but it's a bit harder to do than the 361 because your plane will be going backwards for a while, and planes aren't very stable in backwards flight. So I screw this one up. Doesn't turn out that nicely, but at least the smoke trail is pretty. Same thing again. again, the plane turns a bit sideways and it isn't as perfect as it could be. After I discovered that I could do these maneuvers, I played around with this plane for hours. Following this, there will be 2 clips from my recording session where I messed around near the KSC airfield. The second clip is from the very end of the session, and I think it shows. I found out that these SRB missiles that I put on the plane as weapons fly really far if you have Ferrum Aerospace Research installed. Check this out. That's right. If you do the math correctly and you have a steady hand, you can attack Eve. Thank you for watching.